In our last session, we talked about in decision making, I really see kind of two tools I use. So I use commander's intent, and then I use this, my secret weapon. I even hate to tell you about it because it's so good, but a METT-T analysis. Now, METT-T analysis has existed, time immemorial in the Army. Rarely have I seen people use it right and what I think it was meant to be. So I'm going to give you this tool, and like I said, it's my secret weapon, but again, to use it to help you make good decisions. Okay, so this idea about METT-T, and I'll get into what it is, but since I'm in the Army, people always talk about position advantage. Are you at a position advantage? I always hear people say, okay, it's really important that you're at a position advantage. Being a position advantage are you at a position advantage? It's really important to be there. And it drove me nuts. Like, what the hell is a position advantage? Well, I'm going to tell you what it is. Position advantage is when the factors of METT-T favor you. And as a leader, the battle is trying to get, in any kind of situation you get into, you can mentally use the factors of METT-T and say, okay, do they favor me or do they favor their adversary? And if they favor the adversary, then your job is to start putting the factors of METT-T in your favor. If the factors of METT-T favor you, you're in a position advantage. If the factors of METT-T favor the enemy, you're in a position of disadvantage, okay? I like to take this little my METT-T meter, okay? So any battle, you can do this. If you want to do some history, study some histories. One time I looked at the battle of the MBM-Fu, and I just looked at it through the factors of METT-T, right? You can do this. In any battle or any encounter, right, you have my METT-T-O-meter, okay? And any time this METT-T-O-meter is always changing. Do these factors favor me? Or do they favor the enemy? If they're favoring me, I'm at a position advantage. If that is, execute, accomplish your mission, do your thing. If they favor the enemy, well then you're probably losing the battle. So then you as a decision maker, as a leader, you need to then start running the traps. What factors of METT-T can you then put back in your favor? Needle back to favoring you. Okay, so let's talk real quick of METT-T. You've heard this acronym before. So METT-T stands for mission, E stands for enemy, troops in support, T for time, and the other T is for terrain, and the last, METT-T, there's also METT-TC, is for civilians. And we tend to forget about them, just like I just did, all right? But it's an important consideration, right? Okay, so let me kind of give you an example. So, when I talk about mission, I'm not talking about the mission of the task force is to destroy the enemy on Hill 1, 2. I'm talking about what is your task at hand? Okay, what are you actually doing in the moment, right? To me, I like to consider what is winning. When I say what does it mean? What is winning? Right? So I make counter with the adversary. Let's say my mission is to set up an observation point on that hilltop. Okay? So I start moving up on that hilltop. I'm going to make an encounter. I make an encounter with the enemy. First thing we have to understand, what is it winning? If winning is for me to get up on that hilltop to provide overwatch, do I really want to get into a gunfight and spend all afternoon chasing someone around the jungle trying to shoot him? Right? That's not what my task is. Right? If I start chasing him around the jungle and trying to shoot him, where does METT-T start favoring? Right? He starts owning me. Maybe he doesn't want me to get up on that hill. So therefore, who's METT-T favoring at that moment? Make sense? So when you say mission, what is your win? What is winning? What is your actual task at hand? Your assessment of your task at hand will tell you how to do things, how to engage, right? If you should engage at all. Next, you have, so once you move there, then go to enemy. What do you know about the enemy? What is he capable of? For example, if I'm moving up and the enemy has a machine gun and a pillbox, if he's capable of that, am I really just going to, me and my buddy, my 2 M4s, we're just going to try to bound up on there? That's right. What is he capable of? One of my favorite stories. I was teaching a tactics course once, and the Op 4 was in this really fortified position, and my students are trying to move up, and they were getting shot up. We were using marking cartridges, and they were just getting shot, and they were all trying to low crawl, and they shot, getting hit again, and finally at one point, one of my students took his mask off and threw it, and I was like, tack pause, you know. I was like, all right, man, what are you doing? He says, this is effing, you know, blah, blah, blah. He's like, this is crap. I'm like, okay, that's fine. What are we trying to do here, dude? He was like, well, I can never take that position. I'm like, I know, it's terrible. And he was like, well, I would need a bazooka to get him out of there. I'm like, I know, do you have a bazooka? I was like, no. I'm like, oh, well, maybe you're not doing the right thing, dude. Oh yeah, it's like, if you could be anywhere, what do you think, you know, are you winning right now? Hell no. Like, okay, so let's do something different. Once he kind of was able to pull himself in, like, wait, I don't have a bazooka. And they're in that great position, maybe trying to run forward, all I'm doing is just getting peppered up with marking cartridges, right? So what do you know about the enemy, right? Your assessment of what the enemy can and can't do should tell you how to engage and if you should at all. All right, once you determine that, again, go into troops and support. What do you have? Again, going back to my example, a person assessed that he needed a bazooka in order to win that encounter, and he didn't have one. So should he probably change what he's going to do, make a different decision, right? At that point, his METT-T was way over here. So what can he do to change and bring it over? And what he decided to do, since he did not have troops and support available, then it became about time. Sometimes you can put time in your favor, right? Sometimes, you know, I've always realized people say, well, you know, don't rush into an ambush. If you have the time, take the time. But a lot of times, especially in the defense, think about it in defense. As a defense, how do you put time in your advantage? The longer the attacker is out there, the longer that he's consuming resources, he's going through ammunition. You want to extend the time when you're on defense. The attacker wants it to be as fast as possible, right? They want to just be there right now. And so your manipulation of time, right? Trading space for time, right? Putting the factors of time in your favor will help you make good decisions, right? Lastly is terrain. A lot of people out there know that we usually break down terrain because it's such a vast assessment tool. So we have another tool we usually give, and that's called OCOKA. Stands for observation, obstacles, key terrain, cover and concealment, and avenues of approach. It's a lot. But the whole idea is trying to put, so let me make it more simple. You may encounter with an opponent. You assess what is winning. What is winning is you must destroy, the adversary. You know that adversary has better capability than you do. Let's say he has a tank and you don't. So therefore, you have to make a different decision. Troops and support, you're looking around. Do you have a javelin? No, you don't. So therefore, how much time do you have to make this decision? Well, that's based on distance. If that tank is moving up on you real fast, you need to immediately break contact and get to a position. What position are you looking for? Well, you're looking at terrain. How can you then put observation, obstacles, key terrain, cover and concealment, and avenues approach in your favor? So therefore, I quickly, as a leader, look for where's tank-proof country, right? We're going to look for cliffs. We're going to look for really dense forest. We're going to look for a position where I can get to, move too quickly to tank-proof country and put factors of OCOKA in my favor. And you can do that. So this is what you need to practice, right? So when you're doing like a platoon stick lanes, right? You're going to be moving up onto an encounter, right? Immediately something's going to happen. You're going to make contact with the enemy. You immediately need to think, okay, where am I on the METT-T-meter? Is METT-T at this moment favoring me or favoring the adversary? You're going to run the traps, meaning run these factors. Is my mission still valid? Meaning what the task at hand. What is winning? Well, what's winning is for me to do X. What do I know about the enemy at that moment, right? What do I have in support? What's my time look like and terrain? And do I have the advantage of terrain? If these factors favor you, execute. You made a good decision. You're at a position of advantage. If one of these, though, if you start seeing it's moving here, then your decision is how to put these factors into how to change these factors in order to get you a position of advantage. I hope that makes sense.